Hello there. Last video, I built this farmhouse that generates me melons and pumpkins for villager trading. Now it's been a little while since my last video, so my farm should have generated quite a good number of melons and pumpkins in that time. Okay, not too bad. Now actually between episodes I have been doing some trading with my villagers, and now my gear is fairly well upgraded. Now I don't have the craziest gear in the world, but I have managed to get mending on most of my items. However, there is an issue. I actually don't have a consistent way of getting XP at the moment, which means even if my tools get low and I have mending on them, I don't have a way to repair them. But today I'm going to be working on an Enderman farm that's going to let me repair all of my items by giving me plenty of XP. But there is a few challenges we have to face first. The first issue is that most Enderman farms are designed to be purely functional, meaning they don't look great. And most of the builds that I do, I like them to look great as well as performing a function. Hence why I spent multiple stacks of copper building this very over-engineered farmhouse for a very simple melon and pumpkin farm. However, with Enderman farms, there is a reason for this though. Enderman teleport, which makes it very difficult to make aesthetic changes to the farms without making them less efficient. But I think I have a solution to this. But first, I'm gonna need some materials. Which means we need to make a trip into the Nether. So let's grab our gold helmet and head to the Nether. Now this is the stuff that I need over a shulker box of. Warped hyper. I do not know how to say it. But like I said, we're gonna need over a shulker box of this stuff, so let's speed this up, shall we? Gathering all of this wood has taken way more time than I initially expected. However, we should almost be done. But the warped wood isn't the only material that I need from the Nether. And also because the warp blocks don't decay, I decided to make a tool that would help with that. So that's why I made this little guy right here. Now I don't even have full netherite tools or armor, but I did decide to make a netherite hoe. Partially for the meme, but also it's been really helpful. And not only did I make a hoe out of netherite, I decided to give it a bunch of enchantments to make it the most overpowered hoe it could be. I've actually had to repair this hoe several times, just gathering all this wood and breaking all these blocks. Which is really crazy when you think about it. And of course a netherite hoe is a completely worthwhile investment. Definitely the best use of my resources. Although, all jokes aside, it's actually been very useful. I do actually need some warp blocks for my build, and some of these plants as well. It makes it very convenient to collect. But I have gathered way more warp blocks than I will ever need. And it's also been really useful for collecting these shroomlights, which are one of my favorite blocks in the game. Also, I discovered, and by discovered I mean I was told, the warp blocks are compostable, which means that I was able to turn the over 7 shulker boxes worth of warp blocks that I gathered, and that is not an exaggeration, into bone meal, which is really handy. You know, you'd think after spending several hours mining warp stems, I'd be done with my resource gathering for building an end farm. But no, here I am, still digging. I just got a few more stacks of different stones to collect, but then we will be ready. You know, maybe I was a bit too ambitious with my design, but I think it's going to turn out well. But I have to admit, spending several hours gathering materials, not the most fun part of this project. So I actually require quite a lot of string for my build, and I haven't been very lucky in finding any mine shafts. Now spiders can be a bit of a pain to find, however, these fellas. Striders actually drop string, surprisingly. I didn't know that. But these guys are also breedable, which means I can just farm a bunch of them. And then hopefully I can slaughter them all and have a lot of string, as much as I need. Because to be honest, I am very ready just to get on with the build. Oh god, I've gotten trapped. Help, let me out. I really just want to get on with the build at this point, but I'm still not quite there with the blocks that I need. But we're so close, so I'm hoping that this works. Okay, so I'm finally done breeding all these striders, and as you can see, they're all grown up. Now, there looks to be quite a few in here. According to the F3 screen, I think there's about 120 striders just in this pit alone. So hopefully, with this looting 3 sword, I should get enough string that I need. Now we need about 5 stacks. We have 45 already, so let's see how we do. So it seems like striders have more health than I originally thought, as they don't seem to be dying very quickly. This might take a little while. So I realized I had accidentally had the sound for the creatures off, and I have to say, this is far worse. The sound is really unsettling. Alright, we're down to our last couple of striders here. And the final one. There we go. So let's see how much string we got in total. Okay. Thank goodness we have plenty of string. Now I definitely went a little overboard with breeding the striders, but I wanted to be absolutely certain that I would have enough. And luckily I have string to spare, so in the future we shouldn't have to come back and do this too soon. Now some of you might be wondering how I ended up with so many strider heads, and that's actually because I'm using a data pack from Vanilla Tweak. No, this is just a purely aesthetic thing and doesn't affect things like wither skeletons where, you know, that actually matters. But I just like these heads aesthetically for decorating stuff. I think they can be quite fun. Alright, so we're finally in the end. I've got my barrels full of all my materials ready to build out into the end for this farm. Now I've already made a nice pillar down so that we can build out into the void, ready for this project. I'm so excited. Without further ado, let's build this, shall we? It's done. It's actually finally done. I've spent so many more hours on this farm than I care to admit. But I think it turned out so incredible. I'm so happy with this final design, and I don't care about not having a bridge. I'm more than happy just to fly over there. But it looks so good. So the design we ended up going for was this big sort of weird island-looking thing held up by a tree trunk. And it was really hard to pull off. But we got there eventually. And one of the big challenges was trying to make it spawn and teleport proof. So usually for Enderman farms, to make them TP proof, you do 2 layers of carpets anywhere they can TP to. Now if I did that here, it would have looked a little bit bad. So what we ended up going for was 1 layer of string, then a layer of carpet. And from a distance you can't notice it. But even when you get up close, I feel like, because the carpet color matches, it looks like a weird sort of fungus or lichen growing on the tree. And if we go up to the top, we can see how effectively it's working. We've got our little endermite in the minecart there. His name is Fred. And he's attracting all the angry endermen into that hole. And if we drop down, and if I don't miss, you can see they're all gathered right here. And they're all standing on some carpets, and underneath the carpets, I just lost that one, are hoppers that go into a dropper. Now the dropper gets rid of all the ender pearls so that I don't lag too badly. And if you'll notice, we have a little vine over here. And if we climb down this vine, and we have really nice little enchanting room. I'm really happy with the way this turned out, and it does work up to level 30. And if you'll see over here, this is where the ender pearls drop out, and where I lost my moss carpet too. That's okay, I'll replace that another time. I'm so happy with the way this build turned out, and it's really efficient at getting XP. I think we'll have plenty. So if you're a fan of the build, please let me know below, because I worked so hard on this and spent so much time on it, and I really loved the way it turned out, and I'd love to know what you think too. But anyway, we're done with this project, on to the next one. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.